So you want to do crazy amount of damage like this, and you actually want to play Trickster the way it's meant to be. None of this gimmicky firepower to anomaly power. No, guys, you actually want to play it the way it's meant to be. Front face anomaly damage. Well, today I bring to you guys the best anomaly build, the true anomaly build that has you playing Trickster the way it's meant to be played. Let's go ahead and dive into it. As you guys may already know, Trickster is definitely one of those characters that you want to rush with. You want to make sure that you are in the person's face every single time and doing a massive amount of damage, as you're seeing right now in the video. In addition to that, what fun is Outriders if all you're going to be doing is shooting a gun when you have all this amazing power? Today we put a build together that not only synergizes perfectly with all your abilities, but allows you to do a ton of damage and giving you that one-shot potential, or should I say one-swipe potential or one-slice potential that your heart desires. With that being said, let's talk about how you're going to be able to put this build together and dive in and take a look at the gear. Alright, so let's take a look at the weapons. Now, in the weapon category, I don't have the best weapons, but I'm going to give you a couple options that I could recommend that you could substitute with what I have. So, I have the Damascus offering right here that I'm using. The only reason is because I have a really good roll on this one. I have Mage's Rage and Fortress. Those are the two main mods you want to get on the weapon. It doesn't matter the weapon you get, but preferably the god roll here would be this weapon right here, which is the Mythos, because this has armor piercing, and armor piercing is going to give us even more damage. Unfortunately, I don't have one with these mods, so if I could get this on a drop with, you know, Mage's Rage and pretty much Fortress, then that's definitely the one I would want to go with and the one I recommend you go with. So the main thing you want to look for here, any weapon that has armor piercing that gives you the ability of having Mage's Rage and Fortress, that is the weapon you want to choose and the preferred weapon. But regardless, you still see the amount of damage I'm doing without it having armor piercing. In addition to that, guys, as my secondary weapon, and it's very important that you understand how crucial this weapon is, because this weapon is going to help you to clear out the mobs in everything. This is your mob clearing gun. This is the weapon that you're going to be using to do even a little bit more damage to the bosses, but theoretically speaking, this gun is mostly used only for mob clearing. And what we have here is Moaning Winds. This drops with this weapon. We have Radiational Splash, and that's going to give us vulnerable, apply vulnerable when we reload. And we have Firestorm in this one. That third mod is not that important because theoretically this gun, you won't be shooting it. I shoot it while I play because I want to get that extra 8 million damage. I shoot that once. But theoretically, the main thing you're using this particular weapon is because you want to make sure you get that reload activation of Radiation Splash and Moaning Winds. Now, in addition to this, guys, we have the Lumberjack. Now, this weapon in particular is extremely important, and I should have probably leveled it up, and I'm going to level it up so when you see my 40 run, my level 41, this is going to be fully leveled, and hopefully I have this weapon already in my arsenal with these rolls to be able, so you guys can see that run fully run. You know, hopefully we have that uploaded at the same time we have this we have our build up. So this one, guys, the Lumberjack, the reason why we have this is because we were able to get Mage's Rage in here, and the cool thing about here is that we have first things first, which is pretty awesome because any time we shoot this weapon, we're going to be able to pick up that 50% on the piercing, which turns it into anomaly, which is awesome and viable. So basically what you're looking for here, guys, is any weapon that has armor piercing, especially a hand cannon, and you want to get that mod first things first. That is the main thing, okay? Now, moving along with our gear and why it's extremely important. We're running the Edge of Times. The reason why is because that's going to increase the damage of Temporal Blade by 100%. That's the main thing. Our main bread and butter and our main damage dealer here, guys, is Temporal Blade. We're able to almost one-shot almost every single boss, and if we proc this correctly, we could theoretically insta-melt any boss that's in the game. You just gotta have the right timing, and you just have the right luck because it usually procs every 3 to 4 times, okay? And we'll talk a little bit later what we're trying to proc. But what weapons do we have here? Not weapons, but what mods do we have here? Well, let's talk about those, but first and foremost, I do want to talk to you guys about the main attributes you're looking for when you're looking for this gear. Anomaly power, cooldown reduction is the main bread and butter of this build because you want to make sure you're using that Temporal Blade as quickly as you can, and you're getting that additional anomaly power. Now, these goggles do drop with double slice. We have Captain Hunter in here, and we also have Anomaly Echo. Usually the Anomaly Echo either drops in the third slot or will drop in the top instead of double slice, or vice versa. So you're almost always, not guaranteed, but theoretically speaking, you're going to get one of these two mods to drop for you for these goggles. So just keep an eye out for that. So the main thing, you just want to make sure Anomaly Echo or Captain Hunter drops in any of those slots, and then you can just put any other mod in here. But that is the main thing you're looking for. Now, for this one right here, guys, we are using a purple with Anomaly cooldown reduction and status power. This one in particular, guys, is really, really good. I really got a really good roll here. But you could substitute, guys, this with one of these. These actually drop with some really good mods, and they usually drop with, like, you know, like Arms and Anomaly, as you see here. This one drops with both of mods that I'm currently using, so this is a pretty good alternative to have, and it has Anomaly and cooldown reduction. That's why I would recommend it, and you're more than likely to find that to find a purple with these stats. But right here, guys, we put Temporal Blade, which is going to give us the advantage of getting 10% shield. So every time we use our blade, we're getting shield back, which is keeping us alive and allowing us to do the content very easily and not die. We're also using one of the most important mods, which is resistance against the fortified, which is going to increase your resistant piercing by 100% and your armor piercing value by 100. That's important that these right here, guys, have armor piercing, because that's going to boost your armor piercing when we go to the stats, which we'll show in a little bit. It's going to improve this by, see, right now it's at 10% and this is at 40%. We want this really high. So we were to raise the attributes on this one and on this one, you're going to notice how high it is. I'll show you guys at the end of the video so you guys can see exactly how high it goes. Now, with that being said, we have that one, and then we have Arms of Anomaly, which critical shots increase your anomaly power. This is going to be going hand in hand with our Mage's Rage, because, you know, Mage's Rage, when we get critical shots, our anomaly power is incremented, and Arms of Anomaly go hand in hand with that. Next up, guys, we have the Pants of Edge of Time. Once again, guys, anomaly power cooldown reduction. Right here we put in boomerang blades. This is actually pretty helpful. It helps you clear out the mobs. Not so important for bosses, but it does help out with mobs. We have strong slicer, which drops with this one, which is going to increase the skill damage by 1.5 million. Depending on what level you are, that's going to be reduced. And we have self-medicate, which is going to increase your max health by 10%. It starts at the cooldown, stacks up to 3 times. Really important, because this does tend to keep you alive, and it's a little bit underrated mod, but one that I highly recommend. Now, there is another underrated mod that I would recommend here in case you don't get self-medication. The one that actually gives you a shield instead of health. That one's really good, and especially for a Trickster, it keeps your shields active every single time. Next up, guys, for the gloves, we're running the Edge of Time gloves. Right here, guys, we went ahead and put Cut Them Deep, which is going to mark pretty much elites and give you a 30% more damage. Really, really good. Definitely can't say to know that one. That one's really good. Then we have Temporal Blade, which is going to reduce the skill cooldown by 20%. That one drops with the gloves, and this one drops with Unstoppable Force, which is basically what it does. It just turns our anomaly power from resistant piercing. So we got no resistance against the fortified, turns resistant piercing into armor piercing, and then this one basically does the opposite. It turns resistant piercing into anomaly, giving us a ton of anomaly power. That's why it's important to have that armor piercing and get it incremented as high as we possibly can. Next up, guys, we have Untamed Power, which is really cool, which is going to pretty much, using the skill, deals almost 500,000 damage, more than 500,000 damage against enemies around you, equal to 30% of your anomaly power. Theoretically here, I would definitely want to have a better mod, but that is what these boots dropped with. And we also went ahead and put in High Cut, which is going to allow the Venture Dice to damage marked enemies and activate the effect on other marked enemies with a 6-meter radius, which is, it does additional damage, so it clears the mobs really good. And then we dropped this one with Slasher, which is allowing us to use the skill more than once. Slasher is the main one that you really want to get. Now, a nice substitute for this one, guys, if you get these right here, these actually drop with really good Venture Knife mods. So if you want to just use this one, it doesn't have any anomaly cooldown, but this is a very good alternative, because you will get a lot of Venture Knife abilities that could help this build out. In the meantime, you get a nice little roll like this. Overall, in general, guys, that is the complete set. Let me show you guys exactly what I mean, though. If I were to switch this over from this one to here, and then we go to the tab here, not the tab, the shift, I would say, you're going to notice that our armor piercing went from 10% to 33% and 63%, as opposed to what we have, which was with this one, which it drops it from 10% to 40%. So as you guys see here, if we were to get that particular weapon and level it up and increase the armor piercing, you're going to see how high this actually goes. Let me actually go ahead and do this real quick and come back real quick. All right, so we're back from racing the attributes here, and I want to show you guys exactly the big difference that we have when we use this. You're going to notice that our armor piercing went up to 40% and our resistant piercing up to 70%. That means we're going to be doing way more damage once we get that weapon that we really want to get with those mods to drop. because that's going to give us a lot more damage. So that's what you guys should pay attention to and look out for. Now, that being said, let's jump into the skills and talk about what we're using. So we're using Hunt the Prey, guys. Really fast cooldown, 4.9 seconds, almost within 5 seconds. That's going to allow us to teleport behind the enemy and do a lot of damage. Temporal Blade, of course, doing 3.5 million damage and inflicts slow. Really important, we're able to cast 2 of these every 5 seconds. And then we have the Adventurer's Knife, which is going to mark the enemies, allow them to apply slow, and also allow them to explode as well. Really good and very great. Moving along, guys, let's take a look at the actual skills and what we have within our class. So within our pack tree, guys, I'm going to explain this, and the reason why we're going pack tree first and I explain the skill first is because you got to understand how this actually works. So right here, guys, we're basically just picking up 10% for 5 seconds whenever we use our slice. So extra damage, really important. Here, guys, you're going to be able to increase by 15% basically every time your skills is on cooldown. The damage is going to get increased by 50% based on that cooldown. Since we are constantly running these over and over, our cooldown is always going to be active. That 15% is going to be proccing the majority of the time. Next, we're using Lies Deception, which when we activate a Deception skill, that's our Venture's Knife. That's going to grab us 15% shield, allowing us to maximize and keep that pretty much stability of life cycle and shield without dying, and go through the battlefield really easily and effective without death every single time because of this particular one. Next, guys, we have Failsafe. What this is going to do is when your health drops boop below 30%, you get 50% shield, once again allowing you to stay alive. But the main reason we're using it is this one, the Goals Beyond Understanding. Basically, this is going to allow us to almost one-shot every single boss. What this does is anytime damage is done to an elite attacked by a deception skill, that is the Venture's Knife, the skill has a 25% chance to be increased by 200%. So when this actually procs, you're able to insta-melt any enemy. Now, you have a 25% chance of actually getting this to proc. I wish it was 50, but theoretically speaking, the majority of times you do this ability over and over, it's between 3 to 4 times within a cycle that you get this to actually hit for you. 25%, so think about it. Every 10 times, you're going to get this to proc twice. That's why sometimes you could one-shot the boss, sometimes you can't. But when this procs, you will be able to one-shot the boss, because if you're normally doing 100 million damage and you do that by 200%, you guys get the drift. You guys are going to be insta-melting everything that comes your way. That's why it's important to understand the pack tree. Now, let's talk about the class tree and the knots we picked. Now, let's see what actually works and why I recommend a couple things. Some people tend to go different with this one, and I'm going to tell you guys why this is the best one out of other ones that you might have seen out there. Okay, so let's talk about it here. So we're picking up Anomaly Power, you guys already know. We're picking up Resistant Piercing to give us even more anomaly damage, A lot of people like to go up here and activate this melee skill to increase the Anomaly Power. You don't want to be melee with this build because it's going to cancel everything else that you're doing. So picking up a melee attribute is not very helpful for you guys. Some people actually use this one too because they're using assault weapons. Skip that, don't use that. Then we have Anomaly Power once it's incremented. We have this decreased cooldown for the damage skill, so that means you're going to be able to slice a lot faster. It has us dipping down to 5 seconds, I would say. So you're going to be able to cast your slice even further. So I believe without this one, it goes up to 6.1. So that extra second, guys, it gives you more slices. More slices equals more damage. That's the best way to go about it. Anomaly Power being picked up right here. Once again, guys, we have the Deception skill. That's going to increase your anomaly by 50%. So the Venture's Knife comes into play right there. And this is where you guys need to understand the rotation, which I'll explain in a little bit, so you guys know exactly how you can maximize your damage. Resistant Piercing is once again more anomaly power. Then we have Activate B movement skill, increases your anomaly power by 50%. So that's once again teleporting behind the enemy. Anomaly power, cooldown reduction right here, so we can get that damage, decrease of the cooldown by 15%. And then last but not least, we have this right here, which is when your damage skill ends, right? So whenever your slice ends, your anomaly power is incremented by 50%. So that means your weapon or your other skills are going to be doing even more damage because that skill ended. Then we have increased skill life leech. We also have the leap, which is going to activate your movement skill. It increases your resistant piercing by 25%. Once again, resistant piercing gets converted into anomaly power, so giving us even more damage. Then after that, guys, we have the sign of the void, which is when the end a damage skill, your armor piercing, resistant piercing is increased by 25%. Of course, the more we have armor piercing, the more armor piercing, the more anomaly we have. So that's why it makes this build extremely important. Then we have your firepower is increased by 15% of your anomaly power. Since we do have a lot of anomaly power when we're using those as backup shots to proc mage's rage, those are going to be doing a good amount of damage. We have shield readiness, with basically what this does, it converts any enemy that dies into shield, and the more shield, the more enemy dead, the more shield you get, the less you die, which is really important. And last but not least, we have Alter Executioner. Basically what this is going to do, for each enemy that's close range, your anomaly power is incremented by 6%, allowing you to do even more anomaly power and being able to play the Trickster the way it's meant to be played. Now to go into our ascension points. Now I have a lot of ascension points, but for those of you who might not have a lot, I'm going to tell you exactly where you want to spend them. So you want to make sure anomaly power is boosted, you want to make sure anomaly damage is boosted, you want to make sure armor piercing is boosted, cooldown is boosted, and you want to make sure damage to elites are boosted. Those are the main ones you want to focus with. After that, you want to make sure this one's here, because it does tend to be a little bit squishy, so you want to make sure you maximize that health as much as you can, and then just spend the points as I have spent them, and you guys should be good to go without a problem and do a ton of damage. Now let's talk about the way you're able to combo this build. Alright guys, now for the combos. So there's two ways of playing this. Number one, you're going to play it different when it's a boss, and then number two, you're going to play it different when it's ads. So what I'm going to do is, guys, I'm going to play a little bit of video of me using it, and I'm going to explain what you want to do. So when you're only fighting against stats, you basically want to be throwing your knife. You want to make sure you're slicing, teleporting, and using your anime to be able to proc that Moaning Winds and that vulnerability effect, basically deleting every mob that's in your way. Now, if you are fighting a boss, it's a little bit different. You're going to want to use your Damascus. You want to aim for the head, get those crit shots, and make sure Mage's Rage gets procced. When you see the green glue against your gun, that means Rage's Grace has been procced. What you want to throw is your Ventur's Knife, teleport behind the boss, slice, and if you got the combo right and you get that lucky 25%, the boss is pretty much dead. If he's not dead, he's probably going to be half health. Then basically it's back to rinse and repeat the same cycle. Damascus Offering, parking that Mage's Rage, throw your Ventur's Knife, teleport behind the boss, slice, end of story, and the boss is completely dead. I will have a complete run of me running this on level 40, so you're definitely going to want to check out that video that's popping up right now on the screen, so you guys won't miss that run and see how effective this build is. I hope you guys are enjoying our Outriders coverage. If you are, do me the keys for you guys, drop a comment, drop a like, but most importantly, subscribe to the channel, turn on all those notifications so you guys won't miss when our videos go live. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.